Late Night Parents, ways to follow the show, latenightparents.com. Go there. You'll find us, our Twitter, Facebook feed, and all the above. And we do this every week with the best team on the planet during this radio hour. To my left is none other than Richie V.
Teddy Ted.
What's going on?
Nothing much, man. What's going on with you? How was your week? How was your weekend?
Things are going well. I want to give a big shout out to our home site, 1240 AM WGBB, and want to give a big shout out to one of our affiliates, Cyberstation USA, located in Boston, Massachusetts.
Boston. Hello, Boston. Thank you for listening. You know what? We should put together a pin board and start putting little colored pins on locations where we have listeners.
Yeah. I mean, right now, the most we have is if you go to latenightparents.com/stations. If you go there, you'll see the various stations that carry us. A couple of stations abroad that carry us. So it's another week. Happy to be here.
As always.
As always, among the land of the living.
Well, here we are. Unless you're going to be looking at TV in a couple of hours. Yeah, I know we're not supposed to mention times and all that. But,
right.
It is the season opener plus the 100th episode of
The Walking Dead.
And
that's why I had to throw in
amongst
the land of the living.
I know.
Which is
I caught
plug.
the softball.
The plug is ha!
This is the... It was right there. Thank you. Saw the softball.
Without the pine tar?
Hit it out the park, I hope.
Yes, sir. And there's going to be a World Series coming up shortly in, X amount of days. I think it's like 2 or 3 days.
We know the teams now. It's official.
Yeah.
The blue and white of New York are out of it.
Yankees out!
I mean, the blue and orange has been out of it. I'm repping the blue and orange today.
Never made it.
Never made. Mets didn't get close. Yanks put up a valiant effort.
Yes, they did. They've got a lot to be proud about.
Yes, they do. And that's a young team. They are building.
That's your core.
To get this close with the team like that now, all right, next year after that, there's a lot of promise. So, congratulations, Houston. You won. You're in the big games. After that, doesn't matter to me now.
I want to give a big shout out to Thomas Murphy, T Murph, I believe it's 07 on Twitter. We did a podcast about 2 or 3 years ago, and he was talking about the Houston Astros. Or the team that's coming up. And that was like right after they had lost 101 games that season.
Okay.
He was the only one that I know of that I spoke with a few years ago who was talking about the Astros. And guess what? The minute when they clinched, he put something on Twitter and tagged me last night.
You know what? Good for him. He called it. I guess he could see what they were building or attempting to build. And it happened. So,
yeah.
All right. Good call. Good
for them. Big shout out to our friends at Baseball Beer and Barbecue. I'm not sure if that podcast will ever come back, or if it'll live in infamy.
Well, it will exist forever because it's online. It's there, so you can always look it up. You hear us mention it. Go ahead and look up Baseball Beer Barbecue on Spreaker, if I remember correctly.
Yes, and iHeart.
And you can hear some old...
Vintage.
Vintage. Some vintage information, vintage broadcast.
Yeah, so that was a good thing. So, big shout out. Like I said, a lot of things happening. A lot of serious stuff also going on in the world. A lot of stuff that's maddening going on in the world.
The tweeter in charge.
3
o'clock in the morning, putting out fake news. He's guilty of more fake news.
I don't even know what to say about that.
Why doesn't someone just, in the building, go on the Wi-Fi and say, okay, this MAC address, clip.
Shut this MAC address down between these hours.
At least. At a minimum.
Yes.
Make him 9 to 5. Give him his parental controls. And let's just control what goes out on the non-standard hours, at least.
Rich, if I can dictate what my son does on his Xbox.
Yes, I think we should have someone there who can dictate what the president does on his phone at 3 a.m.
Oh my goodness! I don't know.
What are you going to do? What are you going to say?
We got soldiers that are lost.
Yep.
We got little to no answers.
We have Puerto Rico still.
Chaos.
Well, I believe I heard today the number is 80% of the country is still without power.
Right.
I mean, come on. This is ridiculous. It's not like at this point, the longer it goes, the less excuses there are. Because initially you could say, all right, we need to build up the team. We need to put together and put everything in place. But at this point, you could have had any number of ships and helicopters dropping whatever's needed, whatever resources are needed to any location on that island. Even if you just fly over and start dropping water everywhere. I mean, something simple. Could have been doing that. Maybe you are. We haven't seen it. You got to always put it out there. There's a maybe because you hate to believe that it's not happening to the scale that it should be happening.
Correct. And we can't forget about the Virgin Islands.
No, this is true.
I mean, you watch on TV and you see those folks like the first responders that locally live in these places.
In those areas, yes.
That are U.S. territories, right?
Yes, they are. The U.S. Virgin Islands.
Right. So something was mentioned. So I was watching, I'm not sure what show I was watching or like a snippet of it. Mm-hmm. Did you know during Katrina, it was well documented about the slow response.
Right.
But I think that was logistics.
Right.
Okay. Do you know they had trailers there for 7 years?
After the fact or before?
After the fact. Trailers were there for 7 years.
For living quarters?
Yes.
I remember hearing something about similar numbers of trailers parked out in Texas as emergency response, temporary shelters, things like that, and they were just sitting there, there for years after,
just in case.
Yeah.
So, the problem, because a lot of people like to say, "Oh, it's the left, it's the right, it's this,"
right?
But the humanitarian side, why don't you do what you need to do?
You do what's right.
Do what's right.
Because money can't be an option and be an issue. Let's face it, we can find cash for almost anything else at any time. That can't be the reason why it's not.
Not at all. Not at all. So we will bring this up every week.
Yep.
Spend some time on it because it needs to be mentioned. It can't be swept under the rug.
Nope.
It can't be a part of that 24-hour news cycle.
Absolutely correct. And you still, you also do wonder what the folks in Houston, what they're going through now. What is it, a month later?
Right.
And they were hit just as hard with floods and with storms. So we don't hear much about that area. So you have to hope that's because the emergency response, assisted as needed, and those folks are doing much better. You hope. This
is Late Night Parents. Ways to follow the show, latenightparents.com. Speaking with Richie V and Ted Hicks. Wanted to talk about various topics. It won't be rapid fire. I mean, the best shows we've had are rapid fire. The best shows we've had are unscripted.
I would tend to agree, I think.
Podcast format, unscripted. Here you go. I guess the first topic I'm going to come up with, there was a couple things that recently came out, but within the last 48 hours, LinkedIn becoming your next over-the-top streaming service. LinkedIn streaming NFL games.
Okay.
And creating original video content, Rich. What's your thoughts on that?
I see no purpose in making LinkedIn the venue for this. This sounds like another case of Microsoft getting into the game late, saying, we can try to do this, and doing it the wrong way. I mean, come on. One, LinkedIn, forgive me if I'm wrong, but isn't LinkedIn supposed to be the professional networking venue? Isn't that what that's supposed to be? This isn't for entertainment. It's for information. Obviously, resume sharing, job hunting, not sports. Develop another service that uses the LinkedIn engine if you want to, but don't do it via LinkedIn. I'm sorry, that just doesn't make sense. That waters down LinkedIn, if nothing else. And I can't see that people would say, "Oh yeah, let me get on LinkedIn so I can look at the game." No.
No. But
what do you think?
I think, per se, not LinkedIn,
right?
But LinkedIn. Maybe we're not looking at the bigger picture. LinkedIn is owned by Microsoft.
Yes, it is.
Maybe this is Microsoft dipping its toe into the already crowded space,
right?
And saying, "Hey, we want to get into this too, and we're Microsoft."
Okay, but so then build another service and use the LinkedIn database. Say everyone who's a LinkedIn member, you've just automatically become a part of XYZ service,
right? Some type of premium service.
Right, and this is our broadcast service. You can opt out if you like.
Right.
But we're giving you an account here.
Right.
Then you don't muddy the waters. And then you can also see exactly really who is staying to view, staying to watch the service, and who was not interested.
I mean, we all, at least us here, use LinkedIn.
Oh, yeah.
For business-related purposes.
Informational, resume out there, seeing what's happening in the market.
Right. And it's not Facebook. And it's not Twitter.
No, it's not.
It's not that.
Right.
So it could be your social network where you're just like, okay, I don't want to hear the story about your cats.
I hope not. But correct. That's what let it remain that. And
right.
I think it remains a success.
And I don't want to hear or see the stories about friends for 30 plus years fighting about the 2016 presidential campaign.
Correct.
It's LinkedIn.
It's LinkedIn. So let's see what happens with this.
Let's see. I tell you this much in closing, I wouldn't be happy if this goes down the route that I think it's going to go down.
And if it does, for me, and I wouldn't be leaving LinkedIn, but I will not be watching a game on LinkedIn streaming either. There's no point to that to me. I see no benefit to that.
Here's a topic that's going to potentially impact you, but not so much. Formula One is launching its own live streaming service in 2018.
Okay.
Why did that make late night parents? One, because initially there was rumors about Formula One racing going to Netflix or Amazon.
I think I remember hearing about that.
Yeah, there's a lot of talk about that, saying, "Oh, they're going to go and their commercial operations chief Sean Bratches was mentioning, or overheard saying that." But believe it or not, basically the digital presence is owned by Liberty Media. It's a live streaming service.
Okay.
From races, and they're going to do it in-house. Why not do it in-house?
Why not? If you've got the infrastructure, or you can buy the infrastructure cheap enough, why not do it in-house? Then you own everything that goes out. You fully control everything that goes out.
Right.
I mean, let's face it, Formula One is huge globally.
Yes.
A lot of advertising money could be put out there, and then they can get that back themselves. It makes sense. I mean, it's huge, but it's also contained. So they don't necessarily have to go far beyond their core as far as whatever they decide to broadcast on the service. And there's lots of media they can go back to over the years. Formula One is nothing new.
Right.
So, they have a huge library that they can fall back on rebroadcasting, besides when the live streams go out, the live races. If you got the preparation, there's so much that they could do there, So I think that's a great idea.
I think it was also another big reason why NBC said, "You know what? No, thank you."
They didn't want to go. Yeah, that would. Well, was NBC just bidding for this?
Well, NBC previously had the rights to air F1. But
they got wind that this was happening, and they're like,
yeah,
we don't want to.
Why are we going to compete against ourselves?
Right.
You know, it's kind of like, so we air the show here live, right?
Mm-hmm.
Every week on AM 1240. Wonderful station. And I guess at some point, you know, yes, you can hear it on our website.
Yep.
That's just like simultaneously, hey, we're going to do it on our website and air it here and compete for listeners.
Right.
For live listeners.
Right. Wouldn't make sense.
It just doesn't make sense. It just doesn't make sense. Now, granted, you know, if we had the amount of money that Formula One had.
If we had the viewership.
And
the sponsorship.
and or sponsorship, listenership, I would be saying, you know, Jeff, Brian.
Right.
It's been wonderful.
But we're gonna bring this in-house.
Oh, my goodness. Rich, we talk about tech every week. I think
Amazon Echo.
The Amazon Echo, the show, the tap, the this.
Yeah, well, Echo's coming down in price.
Really?
Yes.
To how much?
$100.
Really?
Really. They're coming out with new Echoes, new designs.
The standard Echo.
The standard Echo
is going to be $99.
Well, they said $100, so it's either going to be $99 or $100. But yes. New designs, new features. Now, one of the best things that I liked about the Echo Dot, being able to have the auxiliary output so you can plug it into your stereo system.
Okay.
They're adding that to the Echo.
Nice.
So they've got a really nice one. It's got this kind of wood grain finish to it. So in
really?
The advertising, yeah. So for $100, I think that is the right price point. Get the full one.
The full-size Echo.
Yes, the full-size Echo.
And the only reason I'm saying this is...
because you just bought the full-size Echo 2 weeks ago.
No,
your third one, or fifth one, 10th one?
I bought the full-size Echo for $129 during Prime Day.
Uh-huh.
Okay. So what you're telling me is there's an even better deal out there.
On its way. Let's see if I can very quickly look this up and find when prices are changing. Not to put any dead air here. I'll look it up.
Okay. As you look it up, I will say also I have deployed the Echo Dots through the home.
Nice. And
I have one Google Home that's kind of just sitting out there on its own island.
On its own. So, there you go. $99.
$99.
All new Echo. There you go.
Sweet.
And well, this interface, they're not showing the pictures of any of them. I think that's a great bargain.
I'm really interested in an Echo show.
Not
yet?
No.
Too soon?
No, I don't think that's too soon. I'm kind of interested in that as well. Because, I mean, there's enough of a video library on Amazon Prime.
Right.
And, you have to look and see if you can also stream other services at all. Even if you can just get to, your CBS, NBC, whatever, so you can get streaming news, things like that.
And if from dealing with them, with the Echo alone,
right,
the fact that you can stream the Late Night Parents podcast directly from Alexa.
Yes. Yes, everyone out there with an Echo, say, Alexa. Now, everyone's Alexa just said, bling,
bling.
Alexa, play the Late Night Parents podcast.
And across America.
It just happened.
And then we just looked, and we look at our stats, and it's like 1 million hits.
All of a sudden.
Oh, my goodness.
Oh, there you go. So the oak finish one that I mentioned is $120, but fine.
Okay. That's cool.
Yep.
Yeah, I just like the amount of skills that you can apply to
the Alexa.
To the Alexa.
So how much have you used your Google Home?
Not much. I really deployed it to my son's room.
Okay.
So he can listen to some of his music.
Okay.
And I tell you, every time, and the funny thing is, whenever there's a new skill that's available,
right,
you're getting pinged on it, and you
right.
can add it real simple. Because sometimes when you're looking for a specific podcast, before they just added this Spreaker tie-in.
Yep.
And Spreaker meaning iHeart, meaning
right, the iHeart family,
Clear Channel,
family,
and all of that. What was it? Radio Premier Networks. It's all the same thing.
Right.
Okay. But sometimes it's kind of hard finding a podcast here and there, an obscure podcast.
Right.
Because you have to reference whether you're looking through TuneIn versus iHeart.
Okay. It doesn't search both databases automatically?
It probably does. But sometimes I'll throw something in, and it'll pull up a podcast, and it'll be something from like a few years ago.
Got it. Okay.
And I'm like, no, where's the most recent one?
Right. Oh, I wonder if you say that, though. Just tell it the most recent episode.
I think that might help.
Blank, blank, blank.
I think that might help.
Have to test that out. Oh, and just one other thing. The Echo Dot, $49.99.
Killing it.
Smart move.
Killing it.
Good. Just as people are starting to say, Google Home, not bad. Shebang.
Yeah.
So what you finance it, $10 a month, right off the top.
So what you're telling me is, as I'm going into Whole Foods to buy my hummus,
and
guac,
there'll be an end cap. Yes, your organic hummus and guac.
Okay, organic hummus and guac.
There'll be an end cap with a dot, an Echo. Mm-hmm. And there's another Echo now. They're increasing. The size of the Echo family is growing. The new Echo Plus, which I have no information about at this moment.
Okay.
But that's, what was the price point for the old one? $149, right?
Yeah, I think so.
The new Echo Plus is at that $149 price point.
All right.
Oh, it comes with a Philips Hue light bulb for controlling your smart home.
I'm telling you.
Okay. All right. I'm telling you. That's a great idea, because that is the one thing I have yet to venture in.
Smart home?
Smart home. I have a very stupid home.
So in the palatial kitchen,
in the Ted mansion, the Ted estate, yes,
I made sure to install the smart lights.
Okay.
For the recessed lights.
Nice.
And I'm considering, my wife doesn't know this.
Thermostat.
Oh no, doing the thermostat.
Okay.
Doing the thermostat. I'm considering doing recessed lights, smart lights, in various spots throughout the house.
Okay.
So in like hallways where you would have that standard light.
Right.
Boom. Gonna replace it. I just spoke to, this is a very bad joke. Okay.
Okay, go ahead.
I just spoke to the undocumented worker.
Yes.
That was going to do the... That was a joke. That was a pure... Stop. I apologize.
He apologizes already.
So wait.
Okay.
So now I get to go on Twitter and Facebook and Instagram tonight, and I get to apologize.
You get to apologize.
Everyone.
Yes.
That was a really bad joke. But no, seriously. I spoke with the electrician.
Yep.
Considering doing that, the smart lights through the home. Oh, I don't know. But...
see, why the lights before having... Because, see, for me, I think for your household, the thermostat's the big win.
Oh.
So you're doing that? Is it already in play?
Oh, it's done.
Oh, okay. All right.
So
you're
done.
there. Okay.
Yeah. It was done a couple of years ago.
Gotcha.
A couple of years ago.
And the bill went down by like 50%?
Bill went down overnight.
Yep.
We went from, 1 month, and I'm sure I told you this at work, 1 month heating bill was $383. Yeah. I'm not sure what happened. I'm not sure how many windows were opened. If we were heating the entire village.
You're the reason we have global warming.
Yes, I'm the reason. I'm the reason why it was almost 80 degrees today.
Okay.
And it's less than 2 weeks from November.
Amazing.
Yes, it was $383. Right at that point, I said, stop. I said, we need to do some type of programmable thermostats to shut this stuff off. Because guess what, Rich? Similar to your house, and we're inviting everyone into our homes across America, 8 o'clock.
Yep.
No one's really home in my home.
Right.
No one's home. And when they do get home, I need to make sure the heat is turned on maybe an hour prior.
An hour beforehand. And the other big thing, turn it down in the middle of the night.
Yes.
Everyone's asleep and under their covers.
You don't need it at 74.
Nope, you sure don't. Drop it down and have it come back up an hour before whoever the first person is to get up gets up. Huge savings.
Huge savings. I'm telling you. I almost fell out, Rich, when I got that first bill. Because I thought that was the new standard.
Right.
I thought it was the new standard. So I was kind of like, well, hey, we're going to have to back out of this deal here because this is not sustainable.
Right.
But the programmable thermostat, definitely for anyone that does have we won't say a dumb home, a not so smart home. The programmable thermostat is I think the first step. Before you start getting all jazzy and start getting, doorbells that can take pictures of everyone and
locks
and unlocking locks and
that's going to be the last thing if I ever do will be the smart lock. I don't know. I'm the old guy. Give me a key.
Right. Big shout out to our friends at Verizon Fios, because they had invited. This is a while ago. They invited me to their smart home. They were demoing a smart home and how everything was done, and you can walk up to the refrigerator and you can see how much milk is left.
Right. Was that Samsung refrigerator?
Yes. You can leave notes for loved ones right there on the door.
Right.
You could say, "Oh, okay, it's time for me to replenish." I don't know, the orange juice or
the milk is at 10%. You need to buy some.
You need to replenish, and at that point, Rich would go to his Amazon. It would already be configured.
It should have already ordered it. It should look at it and just ask you, "Would you like me to make this order?"
That part of it I don't like.
Well, it should ask.
It should ask.
I mean, you should, I guess you should have the option to say, when you need these certain specific items, go ahead and just automatically place the order. But the other thing is, sure, ask. "Oh, we see that you only have 2 eggs left. Would you like me to order another dozen?" We laugh. You know that's coming.
I know it's coming, but I don't know if I like that or not.
That's ultra convenience. And then it just shows up at your door.
I'm just only thinking about our kids. What our kids are, it's really going to be like the Jetsons.
Yeah, it will be.
There will be no thought process.
Nope, everything just happens.
It just appears, and accounts are just depleted. Oh, Rich, we're halfway through the show. It's Late Night Parents with Rich and Ted. Ways to follow the show, latenightparents.com. 5 steps to improve your online safety. Did you know October, even though we're almost through it, Cyber Security Awareness Month. I want to backtrack for a second and say it's also Breast Cancer Awareness Month.
That I knew.
Very, very important. Very, very important for your significant others in your lives, moms, daughters, aunts, grandmoms.
Everyone knows someone who's been affected.
Sisters, yes, to go get the mammogram.
Yep.
Make sure you're getting checked out. It's also Cyber Security Awareness Month.
That's a nice segue after we just got off our Samsung refrigerators and locks and lights, and it's all online and everything's connected. Everyone these days, you're on Wi-Fi.
Everyone.
You're walking around your phone, you're connecting to Wi-Fi to browse the web, you're connecting to Wi-Fi to get on Facebook or whatever social media network. Sometimes you're connecting to Wi-Fi to do some banking.
Yes.
I guess what would you say number one thing will be careful what Wi-Fi you connect to?
Yeah, if it's a free public Wi-Fi and then you're sitting there doing your banking.
Right. Let's have common sense goes a long way. Let's just say that.
Come on.
I mean, well, we have another segue after this, but we'll talk about this part of it first. Don't just connect to any old Wi-Fi. If you know it, go to ones that you know and trust. Let's say, if you can be in McDonald's and it's a secured connection, I don't go to McDonald's and use their Wi-Fi. But if it's one and it's secured, okay, fine, use it. But if you're sitting there and you see some other Wi-Fi pop up that says free Wi-Fi here, don't connect to it.
Don't connect.
You have no idea who's hosting it, what they're monitoring, what they're looking at. And, it's free. No, that doesn't matter.
And not only that, but what they're grabbing off your device.
Yep. Because your traffic is going through their devices, their network, whatever it may be. And you never know what they're looking at. So, yeah, only go to known, trusted Wi-Fi networks.
I would say that would be a given. But you got to say it. You got to say it. You got to turn off. Second one is turning off Wi-Fi, Bluetooth, camera, location services when not in a secure location if you're not using them. How many applications do we know have that enabled? How many people do we know that don't even know to go in there to turn off the location settings?
No, that's true. And every app, at least now, they have to ask. So you can go into your settings and go to your location services or whichever OS, mobile OS you're using. Go through the list of apps. I mean, sure, some things you might want on there if you've got security software running on your mobile device. So you might want to leave that for location services turned on. So if you ever have to relocate it, you can. But, something like your coffee store app may not need location services on all the time. These days, they give you the option. Do you want it on all the time? Only when you're using it. Use the only when you're using it option.
Right.
That's fine. I mean, there's two things for this. One, it's security. Secondarily, it's battery life. You turn all that off, suddenly your battery doesn't need to be recharged at 1 o'clock in the afternoon.
It's true. That is so true. I guess number 3 is watch where you download things from.
This is
the world.
This is the big one.
This is for the world.
This is for the world. One, if it's free, it's probably not fully legit. I'm sorry, but I know that you could probably you can get Thor Ragnarok out there online somewhere.
Okay.
Even though it's not in the theater yet.
Okay.
But there's these free sites that let you get it.
Correct.
No, don't do it because you have no idea what else is going to come down if you're even going to get Thor Ragnarok the movie when you click on "Let me download this." Stay away from the free sites. Go to reputable. Same thing. Reputable, known sites.
Right. I mean, we've seen this for the last 20 years with the advent of Napster.
Yes.
And the various BitTorrent and more sites that being on the other side of IT. Where people would come to us and say, "Oh, my machine no longer boots," or "This device is no longer valid," and they're handing you the device, and you're like, "Okay, so what do you want me to do with this?"
do you have a backup of your data? Because I'm about to format your machine. Keyword that you said, the torrents. That's the other one. I think people have started to understand about that. One thing I've noticed the last couple of years, in our other life, when speaking to the students at the beginning of the year, telling them about the software and things like that we recommend they have and not have on their machines, when we get to the torrent topic, fewer and fewer are running, or at least they know they're running it, at least, but fewer and fewer seem to be running the BitTorrent type software anymore.
Gotcha.
Which is a good thing. Either it means they can just get to everything through other means now, even more easily, or they finally got tired of their machines running so slow and having to get it wiped every 6 months or whatever the case may be. But another thing that's very important is keep your operating system and your antivirus software up to date. So, of course, you can have the best antivirus software on your machine, but if you haven't let it download or going to download the antivirus signatures in the last 6 months, 7 months, however long it may be, then you're really not protected. Because how these things work with the viruses and the malware. They're out there trying new things every day. And the virus companies, the antivirus companies are great. As soon as they learn that something's out there, they push a new virus definition. And it should be configured that your machine gets those definitions right away so you have the most up-to-date protection. And same thing for your operating systems. Apple and Microsoft do the same things. There's the security patches. Some people say, yeah, I see them waiting there, but I didn't want to install them. most of those security patches, especially the security patches, are the same deal. They release those because someone has found a vulnerability in their operating system, and you need to patch your operating system to secure it from that vulnerability. So install those Windows updates, those Apple iOS updates, the Apple OS updates as soon as they're released to keep your system as protected as possible.
I had a friend today in church hand me their mobile device.
Uh-oh.
This is at the end, at least it was during the end of service. They handed me the device, and I just looked when was the last time they received updates.
Right.
On their Android device.
Android, okay.
And it was 3 months ago. And I said, I'm going to set it. I'm going to change the setting for it to install, to automate the install.
Right.
And I handed the phone right back to them.
That's it.
I said, it's going to install tonight or this morning, tomorrow morning at 2 a.m.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, just leave it at that.
Right. That's all you can do.
But you still, even after this point, you have so many people that they don't get it.
Nope. And didn't one of the vendors even really talk about, let's just make updates mandatory?
It should be. It should be.
I think so too. Make it mandatory. Give it a 1 or 2 maximum opt-out windows, just so that it doesn't interrupt someone's work, interrupt business, or whatever the case may be. And then force the updates. Of course, I guess that also opens them up to those whatever the percentage is of those that the update fails and it bricks the device. But
right.
Then they make them liable for that too, and ship it in, mail it in, and get it back. But you've got to do that.
Use long, strong, and unique passwords for anything that requires a login. For us, that's really simple. The password should have, at least 8 characters.
Yep.
Should be a combination of upper and lowercase letters, a special character, and a number.
Yep. Easy enough. And it doesn't have to get confusing. So what I'll tell people, if you've got a number in there, just increment the number by 1. That's a change. You don't, and it's still just as secure because the hacking doesn't know whether or not, one character is off or not. It's a completely separate and new password when you change it. So, but the key there is also don't use the same password everywhere.
Right.
You may have a couple. Definitely don't use the same password you use for your banking for anything you do, say social media or whatever other logins you may have. And same thing, don't use the same passwords for your social media that you use for general sites that require passwords. It's hard. Use a password manager. That'll make it a little easier for you because they'll synchronize upon computers and your mobile devices just to keep yourself secure. That's one of the best ways you can keep yourself safe. But all of this is also related to Wi-Fi. Again, we'll go back to that and Wi-Fi security. Even having done all of these things, well, if we have to step back a little bit then, because the background is that if you were updated, you were safe. But even doing so many of these things, the core of Wi-Fi security has been hacked, or we'll call it has been cracked.
Has been cracked.
So the encryption.
So wait, are you talking about the 10 crack commandments? No, you're not. 1.
Never get high on your own supply. No, this is the core networking function of encryption on Wi-Fi networks has been hacked. The vulnerability was found in this, and I forget what location it was. I think it was Catholic University in Belgium.
I think so. It's a global.
Yeah, this is worldwide. Everyone is on Wi-Fi is affected by this, or could be affected by this. So they found a way to crack the encryption, basically. But this was when this was found, the vendors were notified.
Right.
The manufacturers were notified, and they were enabled and allowed to patch and repair, supply the patches for these devices, for all the devices or that they support, and for the systems that they support to fix this. So when this news was released last week, what also came out of it was, well, if you were good and allowed your updates from Microsoft on the Tuesday before,
then you're good.
You're good. They had released the fix for this. The wireless vendors are all releasing patches or in the process of it for your home router. Let's go back to our list there. That is one that a lot of people don't think about, is updating the operating system on your router at home. Right. This is a key one, and it's just as big for security. Your device, your router is like your gateway to the world. So if you haven't, and you must also have changed your router password from the default, and you go into your router, find the setup, find the advanced setup, and anything recently really will have a check for updates feature. Have your router go online itself, check for updates, and install those updates. That is one of the biggest ways you can secure your network as well. So that's what's going on with this. So it's been cracked.
Can I just jump in to say this is something I sent to my friends in a couple of the chat rooms that I participate in.
Mm-hmm.
If your router, you go to your router,
right,
and the username is admin and the password is admin, it's time to change the password.
1 2 3 4
or 1 2 3 4,
or password,
or password. These devices that we use, the passwords are made simple.
Right.
The passwords, the default passwords, are listed everywhere across the web.
Right. You can just go onto Google and type in. I'm not going to put any. Well, no, it's fine. Netgear. Pick your model. Default password. And
right.
It's going to tell you what that password is.
It's going to tell you what the password is.
Right. This is part of the documentation. This is how they can ship it so that you can use it when you buy it.
So you got to be smart. You got to be smart in what you do and how you handle your business, because you don't want someone tunneling into your network.
Right.
And then once they've tunneled into your network, they're seeing, oh, here's a share of all your music, your tax returns, and whatever personally identifiable information that you have. Yep. For ease of use.
Your information or someone else's information.
Correct. So we've just got to be smart with this. And, the KRACK attack that just happened, that was mentioned, is just another reason why the ways of working how we used to work, you can't work that way anymore.
Like that. And this is true. I mean, one of the at least safer things or less dangerous things about the vulnerability that they found, at least anyone trying to hack has to be within range of your Wi-Fi. Mm-hmm. So at least they can't just be someone sitting on a network and sniffing out traffic from everywhere or getting in from distance. They've got to be close by you. So that lessens the danger, but don't be complacent. Install the updates that are out there.
So true. Hey, mentions this week, the sick 48-hour challenge, the Facebook game that was encouraging kids to go missing.
I don't get silliness like this.
I don't either. And this is something else that's global, that's now bleeding over into the U.S.
See, when you were a wee young child,
right?
Would you have ever thought of saying, okay, let me have some fun and let me go hide from my parents and for 2 days and not tell anyone except some of my friends, maybe on my social media that didn't even exist back in the day, but I'm going to go hide and not tell anyone and get them all scared and let them think something's going wrong with me?
Two things. The first one is a very bad response was, we didn't have social media back then,
right?
As you mentioned. And number two, no, because I'd be afraid of getting beat beyond belief.
At 48 hours and 1 minute. I mean, this I don't understand. I mean, what, kids as young as like 14?
Yes,
are supposed to be taking part in this 48-hour challenge, if you want to call it that. And that they're not just doing it together; they're doing it with friends. So what happens? Suddenly the calls come into the local PD. Oh, right. Yeah, 5 of our kids are suddenly missing.
Right. That comes in.
Why?
And, and the sad thing is it's a copycat world.
Yeah.
And because what's going to happen over here is going to be picked up over here.
Yeah, well, didn't they say that this version of it was a copycat from something else that happened years ago?
Yes.
Same deal
in
Belgium or something like that.
Somewhere.
Don't do it.
Don't do it.
That's all there is to that. Don't do it.
Don't do it. Hey, we put up an article this past week called Fan Appreciation Super Bowl Tickets.
NFL.
So the NFL. A lot of people like to talk about the NFL.
I don't mind talking about the NFL.
It's gotten a lot more negative
traffic, new connotations, bad taste in the mouth.
A very bad taste in the mouth. And that's not because I attended my customary 1 to 2 games a year.
That's okay.
I've purchased my watered down $16 beer.
Yes, you did. And your $9 hot dog.
Your $9 hot dog, and then you're like, okay, I had enough of this.
Yes.
But they need some goodwill. They need something because, this entire year so far, we're not even halfway through.
Right.
We've talked about the protests.
Yep.
We've talked about DJT.
Yep.
Who couldn't stop talking about kneeling and protesting and everything else like that.
He just needs to just shut up about that.
You've got owners, a couple of rogue owners, not really rogue, hey, they're billionaires and they're like, hey, this is my team.
Right.
And I want my employees to do XYZ.
Right. And they have the right to say that.
They have the right to say it.
Their viewpoint may be incorrect, but they have the right to have the wrong, incorrect viewpoint.
Right. But the NFL this past week announced the Super Bowl ticket giveaway, a new initiative this season to surprise fans across the country with an invitation to attend Super Bowl 52 in Minnesota on February 2018. A total of 500 free tickets will be distributed under the program as a way to give back to dedicated NFL fans and provide them with once-in-a-lifetime experience.
That's nice.
I think that's nice.
That's awesome.
I think that's nice for once. And I say this to you, Rich, because I went to the Jets fan experience and I had a really good time.
Good.
And I did not have to dig in my pocket to purchase the $16 beer or the $9 hot dog.
It was there.
It was there.
Just walk up and say, may I have one, please?
It was there.
Nice.
But I will say these type of outreaches are good. It's a step in the right direction.
Do you think they're, you can't even go as far as say apologetic.
No.
But do you think it's an intentional reaction to how there's the stand of many of those owners that you mentioned, the stand that they've taken, how it's being perceived, and how, well, you know what? Maybe the general population didn't agree with the man in orange with the orange head and orange skin and thought that, yes, you know what? These players had the right to protest in the method and the way that they were protesting. Because it seems like most of the fans were behind the players.
Right. Right.
And all the players seemed pretty much united in being together. More than they expected, at least. Not all, obviously. But more were behind the players in their protest than were not.
I think they want to do anything they can to distance themselves from these protests. Hence, the reason why the network affiliates no longer show it on TV, because before it was the hottest thing to show.
Right. Yeah.
You wanted to see someone kneeling.
Yeah.
You wanted to see someone politicize what's happening.
So now you don't show it.
Now you don't show it. It's not going away.
Right. Right.
And the reason why we got to that is still not being addressed.
Correct.
So, like anything else, you throw money at a problem.
Okay.
Some of the tickets will go to outstanding youth football coaches and community heroes. I think it's a great thing that the NFL is doing. We beat up on the NFL a lot, but if you look at the ratings every week, it's right up there.
It's still the game.
It is still the game, my friend.
And fantasy football. So,
oh, dude,
the big business.
It's big business.
Not going anywhere, so people will be watching the game.
Totally. So I think one of the last things I was going to ask you, but we were talking about it in pre-pro.
We need a game. Every time Ted says pre-pro, take a drink of something.
We're talking about in pre-pro. Black Panther.
Yeah, I'm excited for this movie.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I know a new trailer was just released, which
Yes.
I did not get to see, released a couple of days ago, which I did not sit back to watch, but I am very excited for this movie. What we saw earlier in other films, I think they're going to do this right. You just have that feeling.
Yeah.
And, it's funny. It's kind of like the B-list characters that were from Marvel Comics are getting some of the best play.
Oh, totally.
Let's look. Iron Man was a B-list character. He was
Right.
not top tier, as far as most people's opinions. He started this ball rolling. Hulk was a tier one. The Avengers in general, yeah, you could say, yeah, for the most part, yeah. But this one, everyone's looking forward to Black Panther. Daredevil and everything out there. This is big. Marvel is taking over. Now, just wait till they do their own streaming service.
And I think that's
in the
making.
talking about that, correct?
Not only that, they're talking about doing their own con.
Yes,
pulling it out of Comic-Con
doing their own
Marvel Con.
They could. It would be big.
It would be big, but don't they already do D23?
Yeah.
So I'm sitting here saying, so does D23 merge into that, or does it become that? Or
that would make sense.
Where you could say, hey, here's all of our Disney products.
Right.
That's that, and we're separate from Comic-Con.
But see, Disney, no, maybe not. Maybe they wouldn't merge it to it because Lego, isn't that?
It's true.
You're not going to mix Lego with Avengers,
right?
per se, and Star Wars. There's so many different. No, I don't see those two merging. They could do a serious Marvel Con.
Okay.
Think like Blizzard. Blizzard does BlizzCon.
Right.
And that's not even that many games.
It's true.
Not that many properties at all. And they put together a con every year, and it's supposedly pretty huge. So, Marvel could do it big.
Absolute last item for you is, and we're going to need a quick answer on this. And if you want to wait,
go ahead.
You can wait until next week.
Drum roll.
Drum roll is... Are you concerned that a lot of different outlets are starting to pull their content from Netflix? Like you've heard Fox and you've heard, Marvel's going to pull it. And
yeah, a little bit.
And people are going towards Hulu.
I was a temp subscriber of Hulu years ago. I never went to the paid plan. Just a little bit. But and I say a little bit because with that little increase in the monthly bill, and the money that Netflix is spending, what they say, they're going to spend $6 billion, I believe, in production, and the quality of what's coming out of there.
Mm-hmm.
I've got a DVR, so the things that come on regular TV or cable, I can always still capture those.
Okay.
And the Netflix programming really, it's great. It's top tier. It's so a little worried, but not significantly. And speaking of Netflix, Mindhunter.
Did you watch it?
I am 6th episode.
Okay. So I started watching episode 1.
Okay.
Great
show.
Gotcha.
I just need to find out whether or not it's based on true life, true characters, or if it's really all fiction.
I'm not sure. I just know it's based in the 70s.
Yeah, it's based in the 70s and the beginnings of the FBI serial killer investigation team. It'd be nice if it's true because it's an excellent story. Good job, guys.
Right. So I guess we'll come to a close. Great doing. Believe it or not, there was no script, no outline, no this, no that. We rambled. And we're able to wing it. So with that, you can find me on the social media, The Real Ted Hicks, and we could find Richie V as
Late Night Rich.
And
Still
I think
there.
That's it.
That's it, everyone. Have a great week. Thanks for listening. We'll see you next time.